Hello, I'm Professor Paul Voss, and I'm here with my good friend Randy Hain. We're going to talk about his book, Essential Wisdom. I love the subtitle, For Leaders of Every Generation. Randy, thank you for joining me. I've been a big fan for a long time. We've known each other for almost 20 years. Tell me, why did you write this book?
I've been thinking about this concept for over 3 years, and I read a lot of leadership books just like you. And I find that a lot of these books tend to live in the theoretical. They're very high level, but I didn't see enough out there about practical, actionable steps that leaders need to take. So I just set out to write a book that was really going to be a bit of a guidebook that would give leaders the essential tactics they needed to be successful. And I truly wanted to write it for the 20-year-old and the 60-year-old and everybody in between. So I think the result was something that's very practical and actionable that everybody could use.
I know business is important and profit is important and market share is important, but business essentially, and I think you and I agree on this, is a human activity run by humans. And if we don't remember the human side of it, or the human dimension to business, we get into problems. So tell me about the human side of business. All of these chapters seem to have something to do with the humanity. What is the animating principle of your understanding of the human dimension of business?
You and I read those books every day that talk about how to get a fatter profit margin. How do you be more strategic? How do you make better decisions? And all those are important books. They're relevant and needed. Sure. But there's not enough out there about how do you show up as a leader. So to your point, we need to talk more about the human side of business and leadership. So the things that I selected in these 22 chapters are the things that I think are just essential and core to the best leaders I know. We didn't talk about it much, but much of what is in this book is what I have collected from observing phenomenal leaders, starting with my mom and dad. So I've been watching great leaders all my life, and the ones that I really admire the most have the traits that I talk about in the book. And it's their human qualities that make them phenomenal leaders. It's not that they, had a sales increase in Q3. It's not that they, bought a big company and made it bigger. It's the fact that they showed up and they dealt with people in a very human way. And oh, by the way, their businesses were successful, but they started with the human factor first.
Well, that's nicely put. We've had this conversation before, but you know that every morning I read the newspaper and first thing I do is go to the obits. I look at the obits every day, and first of all, make sure I'm not in there, right? But also to look at the stories of these people and to see what they valued and to give myself a sense of reprioritizing. And you have a little chapter here on your personal mission statement. Tell me about that, because we are all very familiar with company mission statements and vision statements. We probably all sat through lots of meetings hashing out a corporate mission statement. What's a personal mission statement?
So you earlier referenced my fondness for simplicity. Well, I think simplicity has to be connected to this idea of a mission statement as well. Very quick story. 9 years ago, I was sitting down with a coaching client, and she was the COO of a nonprofit here in Atlanta, early to mid-30s, brilliant, established, accomplished lady, MBA from Duke. And we were sitting down in our second coaching meeting, and she walks into the meeting and she slammed down on the table a 2-page document, and she pointed at it and she said, "I want to talk about mission statements, Randy. Before I tell you about mine, I want to hear about yours." And I'm like, okay. And she gets out her paper and she's ready to take notes on what she thinks is going to be this long dialogue about my mission statement. I said, "Don't write it down. It's only 2 words." And she said, "No, it can't be 2 words. I want your mission statement." "It's 2 words. Do you want to hear it?" "Well, no, it can't be 2 words." I said, "You need to stop because I'm about to leave the room. Yeah, if you want to hear it, I'll tell you." So she calmed down and I said, "My mission is serve others." "Well, no, that's too simple." I said, "Really? The way I was raised by my parents, my life experiences, my faith, my roles as husband and father and community servant have all taught me something, that when I serve the needs of others, I get everything that I need in return." So I have boiled down the way that I try every day to live to 2 words. So I think that all of us need to think about, why are we doing what we're doing? Why do you live? Why do you get out of bed every day? I know in my heart that serving others is what I'm called to do. So I think all of us should wrestle with that question. We may have a paragraph, may have 2 pages, I don't know, but I've got it down to 2 words, and I'm proud of that.
Right. So it's quite obvious why people our age and our generation would want to look at this book, because it's the byproduct of 30 years of thinking and acting and leading. But you and I both have children in their 20s. Why would a 20-something read this book? What are you trying to tell the 20-somethings out there who, by almost every measure, are struggling at a higher rate than we were 30 years ago? Life is more complicated. There's more pressure from social media. There's more incidences of drug abuse and mental health issues. It's a tough time to be a 20-year-old right now. It's really a tough time. So what are you hoping to say to that cohort, to that generation?
I am very fortunate to speak on college campuses fairly frequently, and I love working with that demographic. And one of the things that I've noticed for over a decade, no disrespect to our educational institutions, but I'm not sure we're teaching practical business and leadership concepts to this generation. I just don't think we are. So when I have an opportunity, as I did in this book, to teach about cultivating curiosity as a skill set,
right.
people just don't ask questions. When you get a 20-year-old, a young professional, to understand the importance of candor and teach them how to do it appropriately, when we talk about your moral compass and why you need to form one, I think giving them that training, that sort of foundation at that level is going to really help these young leaders, this next generation of executives, really get a leg up. So I felt that this was a great book for them to really accelerate their growth and help them get ready to lead. So I think the book is very appropriate for that age group.
Listen, I couldn't agree more, and I'm delighted that you took some time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with me, because I can't recommend this book highly enough, and I'm really grateful that you're my friend, but I'm also grateful that you're my guide and my friend who will give me candid advice whenever I need it.
Anytime.
So thank you so much, Randy.
Thank you, Paul.
Appreciate it.